Finally, after so much time, I've managed to build a rocket, and I'm ready to leave this planet. Wait, something's not right. Oh, fuck. Looks like my rocket has crashed again without even leaving orbit, and I've ended up on the opposite side of the planet. Well then, let's get started on building a new factory. After collecting the wreckage of the rocket, we tried to escape on. I chopped some wood and set up the first drills to mine ore. The first laboratories were built quickly, and electricity was connected to them. The first automation was the production of red science packs. After that, I designated a place for the main bus. Usually, I don't like using a bus and prefer city blocks. But after the update where they added the ability to stack items on conveyor belts, I decided to give the main bus a second chance. The second factory was for producing green electronic circuits. And the first smelting area was also created. Iron from the smelting area was connected to the main bus. And coal from the miners was delivered via conveyors to the boilers. After that, my favorite buddy joined me, and we started building the factory together. Though he mostly got in the way of building, at least he could manually craft hundreds of inserters. The copper smelting area was also connected to the main bus. Then we faced our first biter attack. Following that, we built a factory for ammunition, and my friend manually crafted turrets. We also set up a few furnaces for bricks. They aren't needed in large quantities, so this will suffice for now. The turrets were finally surrounded by walls, which we created thanks to the bricks. The green circuit factory was rebuilt and connected to the main bus. The first nest from which biters attacked too often was cleared out. We started running low on power, so I increased the number of generators. Together, we attacked a few more nests. Green science packs were also quickly produced. A new smelting area for steel beams was built next to the iron smelting area and connected to the main bus. After researching piercing rounds, we immediately built a factory to produce them. Grenades will also be useful for clearing trees and in defense. For convenience, we built a small mall, which will later appear elsewhere as well. Finally, we had enough resources to build defenses of turrets and walls, with which I fortified the perimeter of the base. After creating cars, we decided to race to the nearest nest and destroy it. Finally, we needed oil, So I built the first train station for its delivery and laid tracks to the nearest oil field, which we had to clear first. Basic defenses were set up, pipes and electricity were connected, and oil was obtained. Next, a factory for producing military science packs was built, and the laboratories were upgraded to connect more science packs to them. Power was insufficient again, so I increased the number of boilers and generators. Since we now had oil, sulfur was produced and connected to the main bus, which was extended. Our stock of walls and turrets was replenished, and I fully fortified the perimeter of the base. The defense is simple, but at this early stage of the game, it's enough. The old defenses were dismantled. As the iron from the starting patch was no longer sufficient, I began setting up the nearest new deposit. Initially, I wanted to bring the iron to the base by train, but the patch turned out to be so small and close that it was simpler to use conveyor belts. Once red circuits were researched, I immediately built a factory for them and connected it to the main bus. The new blue science packs will also be produced nearby. It was time to capture a coal deposit, so taking all the ammunition with me, I got into the car and started clearing the area. A train station was built at that location, and defenses were set up around the outpost. The next task was creating robots, which required lubricant, so I started building chemical plants. The main bus was also expanded with pipes carrying different fluids. It was time for another purge of the planet's inhabitants we've occupied. Power was critically low again, so I built a second block of power generators. Now we had everything needed to create robots. Designing the factory was challenging, but in the end, I managed to build it. After solving the iron problem, we started running low on copper, so I built a new smelting area and a station for it. As the railway system began to expand, I built a depot for trains. Fortunately, the copper patch was huge, so I was happy to set it up. But the new iron patch depleted quickly, so I had to look for another one. Since none were on the map, I got into the car and explored Nauvis. Eventually, I found an iron deposit far from the base and surrounded by numerous biter nests. I decided to build a second mall with combat drones and other weapons, and start laying tracks to the patch. At that location, we're building an outpost with defenses, which will be constantly attacked in the future. As soon as everything was built, biters began attacking, so I first tried to destroy their nests with drones, but that proved useless. Stone was also running out, so I set up the nearest deposit. Since there were no nests nearby, I decided not to place defenses there. On the base, I created a new brick production facility. Behind the scenes, I developed a new defense system with roboports and flamethrower turrets, so the defenses at the constantly attacked outpost were updated. To test it, I angered the biters by sending them a batch of drones. For convenience, I built a landfill factory on the base. As we all know, a factory must grow, and our current territory was no longer sufficient. So, I set new boundaries for the base and built defenses around them. First, the southwest wall was erected. Along the way, I extended the main bus and built factories for producing purple and yellow science packs. I almost died accidentally, but the train only ran over my car, not me. Yet another attempt to destroy the biters near the outpost. For easier movement, I made a separate set of armor with exoskeletons, continued clearing land of biters to build a wall with defenses. Next was the wall on the eastern side. We started running low on oil, but luckily there was a second deposit near the first one, so I quickly set up oil rigs and connected the pipes to the station. I decided to bring the oil onto the main bus as well. Then I completed the wall on the southern side. For convenience, I researched higher capacity batteries and crafted them. After finishing construction work in the south, I began erecting the wall on the northern side of the base. The old defenses were dismantled as unnecessary. Finally, robots began laying concrete flooring along the main bus. The defenses at the coal outpost were also dismantled. Behind the scenes, the last line of defense was built on the southern side, securing all new boundaries. By this point, my friend returned to the game, and we romantically drove around in a car and extended the main bus together. Finally, I created the MK2 armor, which before the Space Age update was the final one, and quickly equipped it with modules. While installing modules, I noticed I was still using solar panels, so I decided to start mining uranium. First, we laid a railway to the uranium deposit, which was already within our territory, eliminating the need for an outpost. I don't know which developer decided to remove cliff explosives from the starting planet, but because of that, we had to navigate around all the cliffs while building the railway. At the uranium site, I built a station for sulfuric acid and uranium. While I was doing this, my friend kindly built the rocket silo by hand. We would already be on the home stretch if we were playing Factorio without the DLC, but now this is only the beginning of our journey through space. I also started building a factory for assembling the rocket itself. For now, I decided to deliver rocket fuel manually. In the future, I'll place requester chests there. And so, the rocket began construction. While it was being built, I started creating the foundation for the first space platform, which turned out to be very resource-intensive. Finally, the first space platform was created, and the starter kit for the space rocket was sent into space. After receiving several achievements, I began sending more foundation material to the platform, which, as it turns out, weighs quite a lot. And so, we've reached the point where we started. Finally, we can embark on a journey through space and start conquering, colonizing, other planets. I hope you enjoyed this video. Next time, we'll finally travel to new planets and explore the Space Age DLC. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and see you next time.